This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex legends. Remember the days when you were always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets. You could take them anytime, day or night, so you could plan ahead for whenever you're ready for the good strokes and the opportunities that arise. The process is simple. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex and better strokes. Discover your options at bluechew.com. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for you legends. Try Blue Chew for free. When you use our promo code VM at checkout, just pay $5 for shipping. That's bluechew.com, promo code VM to receive your first month free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for being a sponsor of this podcast. Nestor, hit the theme music.
Yeah.
With a message for my people.
Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, son.
Now this the black sheep sticking it to him. I need a crib like I'm Gatsby.
I need it.
In hand, just understand my
Pockets that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose. You see, they told me I'm the one that's gonna benefit. Never been a threat.
Yes, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum, the number one sports betting vibe on the internet. I'm your host, Nick Deus. At Nick Deus 10, as you can find me. All things Veterans Minimum are at Veterans Minimum. My guest today, after he pulled a me on me and he bailed on the Monday show, my guy Kenny Bets Big is here to have a Wednesday winners as opposed to Monday winners. Kenny, what up, baby?
What's going on, man? Yeah, I had to give you a little bit of a taste of your own medicine, bail on the Monday show. But what's better than Monday winners? Some Wednesday winners. We've been hot with the picks, so let's keep it rolling.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. I'm excited. I'm more interested in the lines for this game than I am these games, I should say, this week than I am for the games last week. A lot of games early on, I think, are really interested. Last week, I'll be honest with you, bro, I didn't feel as strong. And we kind of discussed it when we were doing our circa picks. But for this week, I feel a lot better. How do you feel overall, just thinking about week 6?
So overall, I mean, I get like overall where we're at. I mean, I feel good about where we're at in the contest. I feel good where things are at for me betting wise on the season. Just coming off week 5 was my best week betting wise so far. Had a really big Sunday. Went big on the Jaguars and the Steelers, which I gave out here on this show last Monday. I actually feel the opposite of you though this week, where I was like, damn, I liked last week's picks a lot more than this week. But there's definitely some spots where there's some value, and I think we can hit some winners.
Yeah, it's, we're going to need to wait on some of the injury reports to see, because a couple weeks ago we got screwed with the Deshaun Watson stuff. And that's a part of the game where we had to submit our picks for circa way in advance. And I mean, dude, I'll be honest with you, bro. It didn't even cross my mind that he might have missed that game. Like it seems as if we had put our picks in before the Thursday game, and then Friday comes and it's like he's doubtful. And it's the new version of doubtful, which is like basically out, right? Like after they changed it, there's no more probable. Now the new questionable is kind of probable. So Watson, I think, is the biggest question mark. But I do want to just pull the curtain back a little bit and more so ask you, not like where we're sitting in the contest for week 6, because I feel good. We're about 500, which we've talked about it, where some people have started off really hot and now they've regressed. 2 weeks ago, the guy that was in third went 0-5, right? So as long as you're floating in that above 500 range, sort of like baseball teams, like they want to stay at 500 right until the All-Star break, and then they take off. Like, let's float around 500 until we get to Thanksgiving, and then we start really, really crushing it. But my question to you, man, is what have you learned, or if you could give advice, I should say, to any new bettors? You know, sports betting is becoming more and more accessible to a lot of people. More and more people are doing it. It's covered a lot more. What would you say to new sports bettors?
It's a great question. One thing, sometimes, I've been doing this for so long, like even you, sometimes you forget about, just how different, like the verbiage, the language, right? Like when you just started out sports betting, it was almost like, a whole new world kind of opened up to you. So sometimes, I've been doing this for so long, I forget just, how little nuanced things that people probably have no clue about. Even things so simple as it seems like, for me, I would never even think of not doing this, but someone who's just starting out, they probably have no clue to do this. One, have multiple betting accounts, because you could bet, a game and, book A could have a team +4 and book B could have that same team +3.5 or +4.5. And that extra half point could come down to the difference of you winning your bet, losing your bet, or pushing. And, on a game basis, one, that sucks. Like if you could have got a different line that was available for a very similar price that you could have won as opposed to losing or pushing. But over the course of a season, those little half points, prices, like getting a game at plus even money or -105 as opposed to -115, -120, things like that add up. More than, the casual bettor would think. And then also take advantage of these bonuses that a lot of these sports books have, like, Wager Attack, shout out them. I love using their services because, one, they're quick with their payouts, but they always have really cool bonuses. Like right now, I think if you use like code VM, Nick, you get a 200% match bonus. So if you put $1,000 into Wager Attack, you're getting an extra $2,000 available money to bet with. Like you're increasing your odds exponentially to make money if you're taking advantage of things like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know what you mean, man. And shout out to Wager Attack, the odds provider for Veterans Minimum. And like Kenny said, if you go to Wager Attack right now, guys, when you make your deposit, use the promo code VM. And you'll get not 100, but 200% match deposit bonus on your deposit. You have to take advantage of these. You must. It is a cardinal sin if you don't. Trust me, trust Kenny. Head over to Wager Attack, use the promo code VM, and let's get shit popping. Kenny, let's start it off. Give us a Wednesday, Monday winner. Give us something that you're looking at for Wednesday. For week 6, I should say, today.
Hold on. First, the producers, man, they're killing me here. They're not flipping the camera back and forth, so when you're talking, I can't see you. I come to chill with my boy Nick. I want to see that handsome face he's got. But
I did get a haircut too, bro. I'm feeling very
I
sexy
need a haircut.
today.
My hair's looking. Yeah, I can't see you. So unfortunately, I wouldn't know. But my hair is looking crazy right now. I was just coming out of the gym, so it's all sweaty and shit. But it's funny because 2 weeks ago I gave the Bills, right? And then last week I faded the Bills with the Jaguars. This week I'm going to fade the Jaguars and go with the Colts. Colts, you can find them at +4.5 on certain books. They're +4 on others. So feeds right into what I was just talking about, right? Like, +4.5 is a lot better than having +4. So the Colts +4.5 is an interesting bet because typically teams, when they're coming back from London games, their defense tends to struggle, and the opposing team usually ends up putting up, decent chunk of points. They're not coming off of just one London game. They're coming off back-to-back London games where that trip back home, that time difference I think is going to really be a killer for them. So I like the Jags there, especially when you figure Gardner Minshew, starting versus his old team, a little chip on the shoulder there. He's looked really good when he's been in the game. So I like the Colts this week.
Hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting tidbit that the Jaguars are playing right after being in London for 2 weeks. But bro, you know what? I was thinking about this, man, and tell me how you feel about this. We always talk about how, oh, it's a London game. Now they're coming back from London. Bro, especially if you're on the East Coast, bro, it's like a 5-6 hour flight. It's no different than if a team is coming from Seattle or LA going down to South Beach, right? Like, do you feel as if the London stuff gets a little blown out of proportion depending on where the teams are traveling from? Like, if Seattle played in London and then they had to fly back to Seattle and then play this week, I'd be like, yo, bro, we got to kind of look at that. We got to factor that in. But do you think something like this will really matter with the Jaguars?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, have you ever gone to Europe or just on a trip in general, right? Like when you're not in your own space for an extended period of time, that just throws things off. And then you factor in the time difference for 2 weeks. You're flying back, across the Atlantic over to the East Coast. So yeah, I definitely think it factors in. Now would it be a bigger concern if they were from out west? Of course, bigger time difference. It's gonna fuck your shit up a little more. But yeah, I still think it's something to be wary of when you're betting on these teams. And then, a lot of people forget too, like these are human beings at the end of the day. Like, a lot of these guys, maybe it was their first time in London, like they're doing some sightseeing stuff, like, new place, new country. These are young guys with a lot of money at their expense disposal. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a factor for sure.
I want to mention that when you look at the odds provided by Wager Attack, there's one line that jumps out to me, bro, and it's this week's version of Ursulita. I really like the Browns +7, bro. Like, I like it even more that if Watson plays, I think the line, like, you're getting a great number here. He's day to day. They're saying that PJ Walker is going to be the starter, not Dorian Thompson, who played last time. He just looked like he wasn't ready for an NFL game. And I mean, like, he didn't know he was starting until like Friday night, right? And then he goes out there against a division opponent. But dude, the +7, Brock Purdy, MVP hype, monster Sunday night football game. They beat the shit out of the Cowboys. Shout out to Ben Fox, who was on the podcast last week. Early public week 6 NFL sides, 91% of the bets are on the Niners -6. You're getting +7 here on Wager Attack. Are you interested in this one? Because this might be one of my two for the weekend, bro.
No, that's got to be one we stay off of, bro. Because you know me, I'm usually all over those ugly plays and the teams that look like they have no business covering and somehow they end up covering. But bro, the 49ers, they just look like a different team, right? Like they just look like an unstoppable force right now. And the Browns offense, even with Deshaun Watson, has struggled tremendously so far to start the year. So you're talking about PJ Walker in there against that 49ers defense and pass rush. And if the 49ers get up quick, like they've been doing on a lot of these teams, it just makes things easier for that pass rush to get to the quarterback. So no, I have no interest in betting on the 49ers there. You're right. If you're going to bet that game, it's the Browns or nothing. But I would rather nothing on that game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a dog or pass situation. Like, I can't see myself putting the Niners in anything. It's crazy what's been happening with San Francisco, bro. They've covered 11 straight games. And they're covering by, I think the margin is by 4.5 points per game. So, like, they're covering, and it's also by basically a field goal or more that they're covering on average. And they've been hot. Now, it is on the road. San Francisco, we're talking about them covering 11 straight games at home. Now they're on the road here. And I don't know, it's going to be something where if we don't put it in the contest, I'll probably definitely bet on Cleveland because I think their defense is good enough to be able to see if this Niners offense can do it against someone that good, right? Like I think I think the book has been written on the Cowboys defense where, yeah, bro, you look amazing against both New York teams and the Patriots. Congrats. Like, that's not impressive, bro. And I think this is going to be a good test for the Niners. I wanted to ask you one thing. Historically, we stay away from big favorites, right? Like, we just big favorites, double digits, two touchdown underdogs. Like, you kind of always lean that way. I ended up betting on the Dolphins last week, bro, and a lot of it was because I couldn't think in my head how the Giants could get to 20 points. We knew that Miami was going to score 30 or more. I think Miami's going to score 30 or more against Carolina. They're a 14-point favorite. Last week, we saw Tua throw a pick six, and the Giants still couldn't cover. How does Miami not cover this game, bro? Because I think, once again, we got to take a big favorite.
Yeah, it's tough, man, because, we talked last week. We both, when we had that conversation, it was pretty much we were, echoing the same thing where we felt there was no way in hell the Giants cover that game. And I kind of feel the same way this week against the Panthers. You just talked about it. But as someone who, and this, obviously you kind of highlighted it, where typically you bet the dog there. I just can't bring myself to bet that side, because I know it's just the wrong bet. And that's where you get into a lot of trouble when it comes to gambling, when you start to kind of throw out the rules that you kind of use to handicap games because you think this is a good spot, right? Like the Chiefs versus the Jets on Sunday Night Football looked like a really good spot. Like, how did the Chiefs not beat this Jets team by 2 touchdowns? And of course they didn't cover. So when you start, picking and choosing, you're kind of gambling on the gamble almost, right? Like, I know doing the things that I do year in, year out, I've hit 60% plus in the NFL. And, to a casual bettor or listener, that may not sound great, but 60% plus in the NFL at minus 110 odds, you're making pretty good money. Had I just kind of, like I said, started trying to bob and weave and pick and choose when to be sharp, I have no idea how I would do. So does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like one of those kind of built-in situations where you're probably just going to avoid it and not go chasing it and not go away the thing that's made you successful. I get it, right? Like, one of our things that we've talked about in the past is, number one, don't bet on every single game just because the game is on if you don't really like it. And number two, I feel like we've been really good at calling out the monster primetime performance fade the next week, or vice versa, where it's the monster egg the team lays on prime time that we think is good, maybe back them the next week because it's a standalone game. So that's like one of those situations for me where I kind of always look for those spots immediately. Like, I would probably lean towards the Cowboys on Monday Night Football against the Chargers, even though one of my things is anytime Herbert is an underdog, I'm going to take him. Just because he's one of those guys that, as an underdog, I love backing. I hate backing him as a favorite. But for me, it's one of those scenarios where everything is case by case. I don't like to generalize, but I don't know, man. It was one that Miami is just one that I think I'm definitely interested in.
Now, for example, right, if there's a gun to my head or a gun to my girlfriend's head, and the guy says, "Hey, Miami, Carolina, who you taking?" You better believe I'm taking the Dolphins there, right? Because in that one game sample size, yeah, of course, the Dolphins have a significantly higher chance of covering. But over a large sample size of a season or multiple seasons, that's just the wrong bet,
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Dude, the last game I want to ask you about for me and for the listeners, and then I want you to give us a game that you kind of like also. The public has been crushing it this year, and I feel like they're begging you to take the Bengals -3. How do you feel about that game?
I love the Seahawks. That was going to be that was like, there was 3 games I was kind of looking at as far as the three of my favorite games, as far as which ones to give on here. And the Seahawks was one of them. I really like the Seahawks there, especially if you can get it like +3. I know some spots have 2.5, but if you can get the Seahawks +3, 3.5, if it goes that high, I love Seattle there.
Yeah, I don't have it's similar to how I felt about the Arizona game last week. Like I had a lot of my friends were like, "Yo, Bengals are a lock. Bengals are a lock." They end up covering, but it was one of those where they were getting like 90% of the bets. We've highlighted how the public has been on fire, but I just couldn't take it. And if it ends up hitting, it ends up hitting. I think for me, that's going to be a stay away. Now, if the Bengals line does drop to like 2.5, 2, might be a little bit more enticed there, but for the most part, I think it's one that I'm going to stay away from. But I was just curious if that was something that jumped out to you, and it did, but for the other side.
I actually think the Seahawks win that game outright. Like why it's different for me than the Bengals versus the Cardinals last week is the Seahawks have a really good offense, right? Like when you're betting on the Cardinals, you talk about it a lot. Like you're betting on these, backup quarterbacks or these shitty offenses to score against a team or like a good defense or a team that is going to put up points like the Bengals or the Dolphins. I think the Seahawks, one, they can score points with the Bengals, and they have a really good run game to kind of neutralize the Bengals, right? Try and keep Joe Burrow on the sideline.
Yeah, it's going to be – they also had extra time to prepare. They played last Monday. Bengals coming off a season-defining win, kind of. Season-saving, right? Like if they dropped that game to the Cardinals, it probably would have been quiet for them. But, Kenny, this was fun, man, as always. Let the people know where they can find you and what you got going on.
You can find me Kenny Bets Big, Instagram, X, my website. You can find me here once a week with my boy Nick. The best, what do you call it? The best betting vibe on the internet?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, you ain't lying there. It's not false advertising because, I'm buying it, bro. I think it is too.
Let's get it, bro. Let's get it. I'll make sure to have all your information in the bio, and we'll catch you next Monday.
Yes, sir. Coming off a 5-0 week 6 for the boys in the Circa contest.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
I could taste the million. It's never felt so real in my hands.
Let's get it, man. Let's get it. All right. Kenny, we'll talk
Be good,
soon. Before we move on with this episode, let's give a shout out to all the members of the Patreon. Patreon.com/veteransminimum. The growth for the Patreon has been outstanding. I thank you all so much for your contributions. And it goes a long way into building out the podcast. The money that gets accumulated through the Patreon, it's dope because we're able to give back. Like I showed on the Monday episode, that we're giving away 2 pairs of sneakers for the October members. So all you need to do is just sign up on the Patreon and for any tier. So we're doing one giveaway of the sneakers for the franchise tag and Supermax tier, which is our more expensive tiers, and there's less people in that, so you have better chances of winning. And then we're doing one for all the tiers. As you can see right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, we have the $1 tier, which is the Legends tier. It's basically just $1 a month that you're pledging to the Patreon. Probably won't even notice it on your statements each month. And honestly, I know some of you guys spend money on way worse. The $5 tier, you got access to the Discord. You get all the betting picks that are posted both on the Patreon and in the Discord. In the event that you guys don't have one or the other, you should be in both. Honestly, you should have the apps for both of them. The $10 tier, you get access to giveaways like we're doing for this month. The $20 and $40 tier, you get merch discounts. You get promo codes for those. You get the shout outs that we're going to get to right now, as we got Mike Wozniak, Nick Crummage, Thomas Robinson, Mike Stevens, Jordan Riley, Jerry Shapiro, Dylan Chadwick, Derek Plates. We got Ben Kotzian, Christopher Velasquez, Abel Rezin, and Mahul Patel. Mahul Patel pledged for the entire year in the $40 tier. I reached out to you. You got to get me your information so I can send you some merch, because you are a crazy SOB for pledging for the whole year in that tier, and it goes a long way. And like I said, we're giving away 2 pairs of sneakers for the October giveaway. It's patreon.com/veteransminimum. We're at 81 members. We're trying to get to 100 before the Super Bowl. Let's get there, and we got some really cool shit on the horizon. And now, without any more hesitation, my guy,
What's going on, man?
The third son. What is it? Third son, Jay Will?
You wondering why that's the name?
Nah, I know why it's the third
Why?
son.
Why?
You have older brothers, no?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
the
that
third
was-
son.
That was obvious. Yeah, you
And-
didn't shock the system with
Well,
that.
I mean, look, listen. Every different version of Jay Will was gone.
There's a lot of Jay Wills, right?
every version I could think of was gone. So, and then we're all Jay Will technically, because Johnny, my oldest brother, then Jerome, then me. So we're all the same.
I like it. I like it. Dude, what's good, bro?
Nothing much, man. That traffic is a monster.
Bro.
We was good. Listen, I went the back way. You know what I mean? Because it was funny because so you text me like, yeah, might want to make some concessions. I was like, all right, all right. And then like right as you had texted me, I got an alert saying that there was traffic over by the airport, and I was like, oh, all right, I ain't going that way. So I went literally the complete opposite way and came like Valley View and all that, and I was good till we got to the Wynn.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, you gonna stop? And I was like, yo, I'm like literally here. It's getting dicey.
Yeah, it's
So-
it's getting dicey for sure, bro, and it's only getting worse. It's getting worse and worse every week. Formula One is coming here
It is.
in the middle of November, and it's been a cowboy rager out on these streets.
What shoes we got on today?
Got a little.
You little flowered bastard, you.
You know what? This would be easier. I don't like tying my shoelaces.
I
but
don't
yeah,
I don't tie mine either.
We got.
We've hit
these
the
over
age.
here.
You gotta
Yeah.
listen. I gotta let my bunion breathe. It is what
I'm just always in a hurry, bro. So it's easy just to take them off and just keep going. But
Look.
they're tight enough that I can like sprint if needed.
Listen, this is morbid. This is not a good way to start the show. But if anything ever breaks out for real, and I gotta take off running, I'm in trouble because none of my shoes are like I have nothing but I got Jordans everywhere. Not one of them are built for the struggle because none of them are tied up tight. So if anything goes down, we're stuck.
Bro.
It's not good.
I love my sneakers so much that if I have like my Grinch Kobe's on, I'll probably take them off and run barefoot. But bro, there's some times where in the control room, I'll go to put my charger underneath all the equipment,
Yeah.
and I'll take my shoes off so that I don't crease them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You gotta do what you
You
gotta
gotta
do.
do. Come on, bro. Like, I'd rather you slap me in the face than step on my new sneakers.
No.
I mean, look, I don't want to get power slapped, but I'm talking about, like
I'm
if
good. Listen, I'm good at cleaning them, so I'm all right. You can step. You can
bro.
step up like as long as you don't step on my shoes with disrespect in your heart. If you did it on purpose, we got a problem.
I don't know.
Any other time, it's just
I don't agree, man.
that's as much as you're gonna get.
I don't agree.
I'm not gonna fight.
I don't agree.
To me, listen, I'm black. Too many people even got shot over some shoes. It ain't that deep. I can go buy me some more shoes.
Yeah, there's been some horror stories, bro.
Yeah.
I recently just watched The Last Dance again. I watched that I've been watching it like every 6 months.
Yeah.
And they talk about
it's-
that. Yeah.
It's that one. I don't think ESPN's ever gonna take that off their servers.
Nah, it's great evergreen content, bro.
Yeah.
It's gonna always be relevant forever. It was absolutely ridiculous in the best way possible. Speaking of which, let's I want to talk some NBA with you before we
Yes.
do some created this segment for the NFL before Alan joins us a little later. The season's starting soon. And I want you to give me a storyline that you're looking at for this upcoming NBA season.
I got you. My storyline of the year is the Golden State Warriors, but not the Golden State Warriors just, as champions and what everyone thinks they are or what they can be. It's Jonathan Kuminga for me. For the Warriors to even be remotely competitive, I mean, I think they'll be competitive, they'll be good, but they're not, this isn't a Tribe Called Bench with the Clippers and they've got all this talent all around them. They've got a lot of old parts, and for that team to actually be viable come May, June, they're going to need a real contribution from Jonathan Kuminga. He's the last young one that they have. They traded away Weissman. They traded away Jordan Poole. He's the last one they got. So, and also they need to pick up Dwight Howard. Man, they need some help. They like it can't all be on the big fella. It can't all be Mooney out there. He's by himself. So we'll see.
I think you're onto something because my storyline has to do with the West as well. But I want to just stay with Golden State because Bro, I really think the Chris Paul dynamic is going to be really, really intriguing.
I'll say this.
Yo, would you be able to play with someone that's been busting your ass for a decade?
You mean in terms of like Chris Paul playing with them?
Yeah.
Well, it's I'll say this. Yes, at this point in my career,
Okay.
because they've been killing him since he was in LA. And then when he was in Houston. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's no different than Robert Parrish going to the Bulls in 96 and getting another ring sitting on the bench. You know what I'm saying? Like it's different. I would think it'd be different if it was like LeBron teaming up with them to get one more shot at glory. You know what I'm saying? Chris Paul has never won. So it's no different than Boogie Cousins going there trying to get his ring. You know what I mean? Like, yes, they've been beating on them and they've been the alpha dog in that conference for the better part of 8 to 9 years now. But I have no other options and avenues to a championship. And this is my best one. I think the biggest issue and the biggest gripe against Chris Paul all these years, though, was how hard he worked and how much he graded on people. And for him to go to a team where they expect excellence and they expect push, I don't know. Outside of him and Draymond, that's going to be interesting. Everywhere else, I don't think him and Clay and him and Steph are really going to have a whole lot of beef. And if he comes off the bench, what he does to then help that team, I think becomes a little bit more intriguing.
Yeah, but I like what you said there because I feel like Steph Curry might be one of the greatest. Like him and Clay, for how good they are, they might be some of the best teammates.
Yeah,
like across all sports. Because when KD came in, they're like,
Come
"Yo,
on
bro,
in.
come take your 20, 25 shots. It's all good. We're fine."
Yeah.
because we know what you could do. What I'm saying, the reason why I asked you that and how this conversation kind of started was they've been just dogging Chris Paul for years, right?
Yeah.
And he's always been that alpha. How do you step into that locker room and try to give them any sort of direction when they could just be like, "Yo, bro,
chill, relax,
fall back," because what we've been doing to you has not been friendly.
I think it depends on who he's given direction to. If he is the leader of that bench and he's the guy that it's like, hey, Chris, you run the bench or you're the guy that helps rally that group of guys, I think that it's okay. But yeah, no, he ain't going to come in there and tell Steph and Clay how to win. This is how we should run it. Like, no, I think we've been running it okay.
Yeah, we've been
I think
we've been good.
I think this goes yeah.
We've been good, bro.
Right here.
We've been all right.
Right here.
Yeah, we know what we're talking about.
I
We
know
what
my
we're
ring
doing.
size.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun, man. That's gonna be fun. The West is super compelling this year because the West is stacked. Like if you look at the title odds outside of Milwaukee and Boston, 7 of the next 10 favorites are from the West.
From the West.
Yeah. So it's
Denver.
gonna be bar fights. So that's mine, right? Because I don't know if it was with you that I did the show with, but it was right after Bradley Beal went to Phoenix.
We have too many shows.
Yeah.
too
We
many
did a lot of
episodes
content
at
over
this
the summer, but
point. Yeah.
for me, bro, I was just like, hey, man, all this to just lose to Jokic in 6? Because that's what it kind of felt like.
Bro, listen.
Because we were watching the preseason game, and what was really interesting was when you look at the Nuggets, and it was something we were talking about last year, and even during the season when the Lakers made all those moves,
Yeah.
and I bet on the Lakers because it was like a 40-1 odds on them to win the title. So
It's a good bet.
it was great, and I
it
started
was
hedging.
a great bet as it moved
Oh
forward.
yeah,
That bet was looking better
absolutely.
and better.
It was looking amazing, especially when they get down to where they got to.
Yeah.
Like that was
Conference finals.
amazing. So what I'm saying though is, if you look at this Nuggets team and you look at the roster, right? Like they still got Jamal Murray, Michael Porter. They still got obviously Jokic, Reggie Jackson. I think is an interesting addition for what they got from him. Aaron Gordon has really found his role with this team.
Yep.
You got KCP. Christian Braun is going to be now. He was playing some big spots in the playoffs, so now he's going to be more of a grizzled vet.
Yeah.
And
Who's the guy that they lost? I'm blanking on his name right now.
Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown.
Yeah, big loss, but I think
That is that's going to be an interesting one for me because he brought grit and toughness, both defensively and then also not afraid to take that shot, or especially being a second tier guy. When you have those second tier guys that aren't afraid, like road or you know what I mean, like because they always say the other guys they show up at home, but then on the road those other guys usually tend to go away in the playoffs.
Right.
And for him to be one of the others that had big moments on the road and at home, to lose him, it does hurt. And remember, Malone was very, very he was very serious about him coming back over the course of the summer. Didn't work out that way.
Shout out to Mike Malone,
Yep.
live from the 718, baby. That's a Queens boy, you heard? Come on now.
His dad actually was one of my brother's assistant coaches when he first got in the
Yeah?
league. So
That's
I
dope.
knew Mike like years ago.
That's dope, man. I think what's interesting about Denver is that they've had the same team for so long,
Yeah.
and you got to see that in stretches in the playoffs. And bro, if Murray don't go down when he tore his ACL,
In the bubble.
maybe they win a title before that.
They definitely had the makings.
So last year, and that was the thing that when we were talking about the NBA finals, what I found really fascinating was that people were like, "Yo, this is no one's gonna watch it because it's Miami and Denver." It's like, bro, who would have thought that the Warriors being in the finals was gonna be this poppin',
Yeah.
right? Like if you were to go back a decade ago and be
That's
like,
fair.
Golden State Warriors are in the finals, what would you say? You would say the same
You
shit.
would have been like Golden State.
Ain't nobody gonna watch that. And now
I guess it's versus LeBron. Like
but
that
he-
was as
right,
much
it
as you
was-
had at the
it
moment.
was that it was LeBron.
Yeah.
And LeBron is gonna carry it.
Yep.
Bro, Denver, this could be a start for Denver.
Very well could. And like I'll say this, of everyone that has a duo, they have the most dynamic and dangerous duo in the league, I'd say.
Well, especially because we've seen it.
And now
Right,
that and
like,
now
yeah.
that duo has won.
Yeah.
You're right.
So for me, I just think that all these moves that are being made, it's like, it's cool, man. Jokic is out there partying with goats and horses and all this shit. And he's coming back heavy into camp. He's like, bro, I'll play myself into shape and they're going to be fine. And I just think that all these moves are cool and they're cute and fascinating. And oh shit, look at that big three in Phoenix. But I just think Denver, just the continuity. And
Milwaukee?
I'm talking about the West.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm talking about the West.
Yeah. Milwaukee, I'm trying to tell you, those pick and roll options are gonna be deadly in Milwaukee.
That's gonna be
this
fun.
year. That's the biggest thing for them. I mean, obviously any of these teams, the biggest thing is always health. But for them, if they can keep Lillard good come April, May, they're going to be very, very, very interesting. And that's not gonna be an easy out.
I'm gonna read you NBA title odds provided by Wager Attack, and you tell me what do you like. I'm just gonna give you the top 10 because historically, there's also another thing. NBA in the last 40 years,
Okay.
only 4 times has a NBA title winner not been a top 5 favorite.
Really?
Yeah, it was one of the first.
One of the Spurs.
It was one of the Spurs,
Yep.
the Raptors,
Okay.
the
Yep.
Mavericks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was more so franchises, but it happened twice with the Pistons. The 04 Pistons
Okay. Yeah.
were like 8th. And
Yeah.
then the first Pistons run.
Yeah.
So like, bro, when you're looking at it,
That's fair.
history is telling you that the NBA Finals winner is going to be either Boston, Denver, Milwaukee,
Yep.
Phoenix,
No.
or it's a tie between the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. So like that's because they're both at 10-1 odds.
Oh,
So that's basically who's winning the title, bro.
Jesus. You said Milwaukee, Boston,
Denver,
Denver,
Phoenix,
Phoenix,
the Lakers, and
Lakers,
Golden
and
State.
Golden State. I'd say out of that 6, 3 remotely have a chance. The other 3 are just what everyone thinks going into the season. You know what I mean? The Suns, to me, their depth. Now, they did in that last move that they made over the course of the summer with everything with the Lillard move, they did add some depth back to that team. But that team's still, I'm still looking at them. They're one sprained ankle away from like, oh, y'all trash. Like real quick.
I mean, bro, so it's like the Lakers too. AD says he wants to play 82 games. When is he playing 82 games? He hasn't played 82 games his whole career.
Not once.
Now he's gonna do it as he's older.
Not once.
Come on, bro. And it's whack because he's dope. Like when he's on, and he had some stretches last year where like 40 and 20, 30, 32 and 18, and you're like, damn. But the same knock on him is, yeah, it's a pulled hamstring, it's a quad, it's
I'm gonna tell you this, and I've said this before on my show. Giannis is who we thought AD was supposed to be in terms of just effort and get to the bucket and continually get better and do whatever you want defensively, offensively. Like AD, he will like okay, perfect example. That closeout game versus I want to say that was versus the Nuggets, where like, no, excuse me. It wasn't that game because LeBron went crazy that game. And then the second half, LeBron was like, I ain't got nothing left. AD's had games like that where it's like, oh, he'll have 20 points in a quarter, and it's like, oh, AD's about to go for 50. And he ended up with like 28, 30 the rest of the game. And it's like, yo, you can't do that. Like, that's not like, okay, really think about how many times Allen Iverson or Jordan or any of those really, really high, Kobe, those really high level names, whenever they're feeling themselves and they get loose, it's over for you. Like, I'm going to be doing this all night. Like, you're not stopping me tonight. It's like AD either stops himself or they stop running plays for him or whatever it is. And it's like, it was nice for that moment, but then his plus minus ends up being like plus 12. And it's like, what did you really give me? You gave me some help, but you weren't the difference in the game.
yeah, he just got to stay healthy, though. I think you're being a little too hard on him.
He has to stay healthy. But I like, has he ever been MVP to you? Like, think about the other players in his same era.
Oh, nah. But I was gonna say,
Yeah, I mean,
how
the bigs.
when they went to the bubble, bro, like he was probably their best player. Was he not?
We gonna talk about the bubble.
Win is a win, right?
We gonna talk about the bubble.
A win is a win, bro. A win is a win. That counts.
We count it, but it's definitely an asterisk.
It is. It is. It definitely
But
is.
yes, to answer your question, yes, he was the best
But
player.
yo, maybe that 3-month vacation in the middle kind of helped him to stay healthy, right?
Hey, listen, he was broke up every game, and I was like, oh, AD
Yeah.
done again, and he would hobble his behind out there and get a couple more buckets.
Before Alan joins us, I want to do a segment with you,
Okay.
which I feel like always is super popping and hilarious to have. Fake trades. People love fake trades, bro. Like, dude, I used to work with this one company, Chat Sports. Shout out to Chat Sports. That was the first time, bro, that I was able to like generate money through the content on my own.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it was a non-VM thing. It was kind of just like my personal brand. And it was around 2017, 2018, and I would cover the New York Giants and the Knicks.
Oh, you were telling me about this.
Bro, they want to combine 7 games in 2 years. So every episode, I was like, yo, hey, fake trade. How can they get Deshaun Watson? Here's what's got to happen. They're like, bro,
Oh, wow, this is back when you were on the Deshaun train.
Yeah, bro, I love Deshaun. Dude, I was in Vegas the year they won the national championship.
Oh, okay.
The
Clemson.
summer before.
Yeah.
And I bet $500 plus 800 on them to win the national title.
And
And it hit. Watson to Renfro at the goal line.
yeah.
It's my dogs, bro.
Change your life.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
That's solid. That's
So all those videos were like, how does Giannis get to New York? How does Dame Lillard get to New York? Next segment, all that. So like, I love fake trades, and it always reminds me of that. So with that being said, I want you to pick a team
all right.
that is 1-4 or worse. Right?
I got you.
And we have some options. I'll list those options. But as I'm pulling this up, 1-4 or worse, to trade one guy to a team that is 3-2 or better.
I got you.
Talk to me.
All right. This team is dead last against the run. Dead last in the NFL. And the sky has been falling. Quarterback, coach, everything. Everything's bad.
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
Fuck, I'm stumped. They're the
The
worst.
Denver Broncos
Oh, damn. I was going to say
Need-
Minnesota.
need help.
Okay.
And I think it starts with that defensive line. So I'm going to make a trade to an undefeated team that has a bevy of defensive linemen. And I'm going to trade 2 first rounds and a 4th to the Philadelphia Eagles for Jalen Carter.
Bro. You are intoxicated.
Dang. They're dead last on the run.
Yeah, but I was thinking of like a shitty team trading away their player to a better team.
No, we throwing some picks around. We need help. We need bodies
What do you
over
need
here,
help, bro. You're 1-4.
Yeah.
Russ is out here just doing Russ is playing well though. That's a misconception. Russ has been playing well. It's the defense that is horrendous.
I just made a trade.
Yeah, and last year, that's the thing, bro. Like narratives get painted,
Yes,
and then people do not let.
and they don't move from them.
Yeah, like
No,
people are
that's very
married to their opinions, bro, and then it's a
very right.
wrap. Even if you tell them like, "Here's A through Z," while you're wrong.
Yeah.
Nope,
No,
he's trash.
I've seen enough.
So he's been playing well, but he's a scapegoat because of how shitty he played last year.
He played like hot garbage last year.
Yeah. So the defense has been letting him down. They've given up the most points in the league. Obviously, there's a 70-point game in there too. But then on the flip side, Miami gave up almost 50 to Buffalo.
That's
the week
right.
after.
The week after.
So where I was going with this, Brian Burns is on the Panthers.
Oh, okay.
He's been a hot name the last couple of years
Yes.
as far as like, yo, you know who he reminds me of? Not so much the playing style, but you know how like Matthew Judon,
Yeah.
if you knew about Matthew Judon, you knew like football.
Yeah.
Like, he was one of those guys.
He was like he was a quiet name.
Yeah, like you-
football people knew about.
like
Matthew
you know
Judon.
ball
Yeah.
if you know about him.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
like
yeah.
Jalen Brunson was like that. Like
Yeah. Yes.
Jalen Brunson, when he got to the Knicks, everyone was like, yo, he got overpaid and whatnot. And look, at the time, I didn't like 120
Definitely
million
overpaid at the time.
but now you're looking at it,
Might be a value.
and all the people that like study the NBA and follow it, they're like, yo, bro, he's like the analytics, the per 36, all that shit.
Yeah.
It benefits him. And like, he's a really good player. So the reason why I say that is because like Brian Burns reminds me of a guy that he's just been stuck in Carolina and he's not getting the shine. Like, I think he's a beast, bro.
Yeah.
He was in the studio here last year.
Okay.
And I think he's like, he looks 7 foot tall. Like, this dude he's a house.
Yeah.
Shit brick house.
Yeah.
I pick up the phone if I'm San Francisco.
No.
No,
Why
but-
are we doing
Yo,
this?
so hold on, right? What does San Francisco do? What does Philly do?
Where does the money come from? Is all I
You know where it
ask.
comes from? Brock Purdy's making less than the punter.
He's making chips.
He's making less than the punter.
is undefeated.
Ayuk hasn't gotten paid yet.
That's true.
Tafunga, the DB.
Debo has.
Okay, Debo, Kittle, Williams. Yeah.
They got rid of
Bosa.
Jimmy G, so that money's gone. Bosa's the highest
here's the
paid.
thing.
But that's fair.
But here's
that's
the
fair.
thing. You call him and
Running
you're like,
backs are
yo,
gone. That's
yo,
fair.
here. You're John Lynch. You call him and you're like, yo, I want to build on my strengths. I'm going to build on my strengths. Bro, I saw the Giants do this. When the Giants were really good,
Yeah.
more D-line. Yeah, but you got Strahan and Olsen. More
More.
D-line. You got Tuck and JPP. More D-line.
We need OC. Go draft him. Yeah. So
So you're the Panthers, and you're like, yo, bro, we're gonna be trash again. We don't have a first round pick.
they don't have a
because-
first round this year.
No, Chicago has it.
Oh.
So if you're-
God, so that bad year means nothing.
It means nothing to you.
Jesus.
This is what you wanted Bryce Young, right?
But you don't want to. My thing is, look, I always look at it this way. I'm not going to cut my nose off to spite my face, meaning I'm not going to hurt. We already have a struggled team, so I'm going to damage the team even further and give away a blue chip person undervalue to get back nothing, to get back a first round pick that may or may not pan out when I already have a guy that's in house. Now the flip side to what you're saying though is they also are privy to Brian Burns might not want to stay there no more. So if it's, get rid of him and get something, I'm with you. But dang, that's tough.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So Carolina, because the reason why I mentioned Brian Burns also is because he was on the trading block last year,
Yes.
or people called for him,
Yes.
right? The Rams were like, I don't know if it was the Rams last year. It might have been the year before. It was the Rams before they got Von Miller.
Von Miller.
That's who they were going after.
That would have been a mean trade.
Right. But it worked out for them because they won the Super Bowl. But what I'm saying is, if you're Carolina, you don't have a number one pick. Are you going to give this guy $30 million, which now he's going to be the next DN to come up?
Sure.
Mark is going to be like north of 25. You're rebuilding. You don't have your first round pick. San Francisco has draft picks. They have the money to maybe work a deal with him. I know it's crazy, bro, but
That's actually not.
they have a
crazy.
lot of guys that
It's
we didn't
not
even
crazy.
mention Fred Warner, best linebacker in the league, who's also getting the bag too. But
Yeah.
you're not paying Brock Purdy until what, 27? 2020, 26?
Probably somewhere in there.
So why not, bro? I think this would be something that like it'd be fire.
It's no. I'm thinking about the rest of the league. We don't need a rotation of Bosa and whoever else they have out there now. I don't even know who they have anymore.
They took Hargrave from the Eagles.
They don't have Buckner anymore. Buckner's in the Colts.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just trying to think of who they even have. But I know they have enough, and to give them an embarrassment of riches like that is just deplorable.
I mean, bro.
I'm at least trying to even out the league, and Philly is known to keep making trades to get first round picks.
You know he's the
So-
favorite right now to win Defensive Rookie of the Year?
Who is Jalen Carter?
Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, listen, he's on a team where he doesn't have to do much but wreck the game. He's not playing every down. You know what I mean? Jordan Davis is in front of him. Fletcher Cox is in front of him. So whenever he comes in, he's literally just there to kill and hunt. That's his job. So he's in a perfect position to do that. Like, he ends up with 7-8 sacks. It's gonna look far more dangerous than a dude that might have played the whole game and doesn't have as many numbers.
I think Eric Armstead is who you were thinking about.
He's one as well. Eric Armstead,
Javon Hargrave. They got Nick Bosa, obviously.
yeah.
Alex Barrett. Javon Kinlaw.
Kinlaw is
Yeah.
the other one. Kinlaw is another one.
I don't know, bro. I feel like teams do this. Just
not
'cause you're
crazy.
Good,
It's
just
not
because you're
crazy.
good at your positional unit, don't mean that you're not going to go ahead and add
Yeah.
more to it.
No,
I don't know.
no, you're not crazy.
I thought that one was pretty interesting.
Dang, that is a real life move too that I would like wake up pissed off. Like, I'd like hit my phone on the breaking news like, word.
Cause like, bro, how many times has Philly acquired? Because we
Yeah.
we root against the Eagles because you're a Washington fan, I'm a New York fan. They're in our division, and how many times have they just, oh shit, they got AJ Brown. Oh shit, they got Chris Long.
Yeah,
They just make these moves, and often Darius Slay
yeah.
just make these moves at the deadline.
Last year,
Bradbury.
Gardner Johnson,
Yeah, and
Bradbury. Yeah, like it's
Right?
too many.
So
It's so
it's-
many.
Like, how do you have all this cap space? Like, how are you making these moves? Now DeAndre Swift. Now they got a running back who's like top 5 in the league in rushing
Jalen
yards.
Hurts just got paid. Like, there's no way possible you have money.
Yeah.
But somehow or another, they keep finding room for another All Pro. Meanwhile, my team is over here pinching pennies.
Yeah, it's wild, bro. It's wild. And I just think that the Niners, the Eagles, they do it the right way. Where if you're good at that one unit, bro, just stop trying to hit home runs on safeties and wide receivers and all that. You got another D lineman that you know is gonna be good, just take him. So I'm telling you, I saw the Giants do this
Yeah.
in HD 3D. They fucked the whole franchise up. Giants haven't been good at offensive line since like 2012. It's been bad for a
Yeah.
decade plus. And
No, that's
one of the
true.
reasons why is because from about 2005 to 2012, their offensive line and defensive line was like the best in the league. And they had like all pros and pro bowlers.
Yeah.
And then what happens is those guys get old or those guys get paid and leave. And then, let's try Hakeem Nicks. I loved Hakeem Nicks on the Giants. We need a running back. Where's David Wilson? Let's get a Mukamara. Let's get Aaron Ross. Let's get all these guys that never signed second contracts. And then the strength of your team gets old as shit. And then now you're still trying to fix this offensive line. It's been a decade.
I literally, for my team on the offensive line, I want us to literally draft a lineman in the first round for the next 2 years. Like linemen, first round, second or third round. Like, we need to draft linemen in perpetuity for the next 5 seasons. Not even a question.
Perpetuity is a dope word, bro. I'll be honest with you. That was pretty fire. That was pretty fire.
I got to give you one every
You do,
every
yeah.
episode.
That got to be your thing, bro. You know I'm dumb as shit. I just work really hard and I have unbelievable charisma.
In perpetuity means between now and
I connected the dots,
and forever
bro.
in the
I
universe.
connected that dots, but anytime I hear like dope SAT words, I kind of get a little stimulated.
Forever.
Forever.
I own
yeah.
you forever.
Forever. All right. Let me tell you guys about Fly Me Out. Listeners, do you ever feel the urge to break away and discover the world with a like-minded tribe? Let me introduce you to Fly Me Out, the premier social travel club. Imagine if LinkedIn, Airbnb, and Raya had a travel-loving baby. Whether you're looking to network with professionals on a beach or bond with creatives in the heart of a city, Fly Me Out has got you covered. Dive into curated experiences, and with their platform, it's never been easier to find your tribe and see the globe. Don't just travel, make memories with Fly Me Out. Use code VM1 for expedited application review. They scout and curate trips to some of the world's most exciting locations, and it gives you an opportunity to meet phenomenal people that are top achievers and innovators from various industries. Download the app Fly Me Out. Use the code VM1 for expedited application review. Josh, I don't know if I've asked you. That was a dope cut, Nestor. Nestor crushed that cut.
Well,
there.
what I'm gonna
Did
say
you see
is,
that little
was
fade
that,
in, bro?
Wait a minute. Was that Mykonos in the background? That was beautiful.
They got
All right, Fly Me Out.
Fly Me Out. is
Fly
dope,
Me Out.
bro. Have I asked you what's your dream place to go? I think I've asked you. Or was it George?
Dream place? I don't have many dream places anymore, bro.
Yeah.
I done been almost everywhere. Honestly, Greece is still one. So Mykonos and Santorini.
Bro, we
is
should go to
actually-
Greece together because I speak the
Yeah,
language.
you're Greek. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lamb,
Speak it fluently.
Mr. Lamb Chop over here.
Lamb chop. Mine was
uh,
Colombia, and I went to Colombia, and I'll be going back very soon.
You've been to Colombia. Outside of that, man, shoot, like Barcelona, Madrid. Yeah, I mean, a few places in Europe still.
You know where it's really beautiful? I've seen some pictures. Croatia.
I've heard that parts of Eastern Europe. Yeah, I have to get to the Baltics. And then I definitely still have to get to Taj Mahal in India.
Ooh.
So that's like still, I have to see that with my eyes.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
That's
like,
a dope.
I've hit every continent at this point. So
You know who went to Croatia over the summer?
Ooh.
My guy, Alan, baby. Alan Sturk. There you go.
Kovacevic.
Let's
Oh
go.
no, he doesn't come out with
Is he
it.
dobro?
Let's go. He's only speaking that. He's not speaking English the rest of the pod. So you guys got to hit the translate.
I'll last maybe 2 more minutes.
That's 2 minutes longer than I
appreciate
got,
the love,
Alan.
man.
Let's go. Yo, Alan, I don't know if I've asked you, bro, but what is your dream place to go visit?
Thailand and still Germany, man. I still haven't been to Germany.
Bro, the Euro Cup is there this summer.
Germany.
Yeah.
I know.
I made some German friends
I'm taking
recently.
That's gonna be my summer vacation.
Oh, okay.
I want to go. My life goal is to go watch a top level international soccer, whether it's the Euro Cup or the World Cup. The World Cup's gonna be here in 2026.
We're going.
Yeah, it's not gonna be games in Vegas though.
No, because Allegiant didn't. We didn't apply. The stadium was being built, but we didn't apply because they weren't sure. We're getting Final Four though, so it's fine.
Okay.
But we didn't apply. That was the reason why.
Okay.
I thought the same thing.
Interesting. I didn't know that, but when I was looking at this,
SoFi though.
yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
I think the final might be there.
Oh, I don't know. Probably
Right.
that makes more sense. Jesus, we're not going to SoFi. San Francisco
Okay.
has it.
Yeah.
New York for Allen. MetLife has it.
Hey man, I could go back home too.
I think Miami has games.
Yeah, especially
And-
now with Messi being down there.
Yeah.
they'll
We'll know that
Beckham.
At Hard Rock.
Yeah.
And then Jerry World.
Atlanta.
has it.
Atlanta.
Atlanta has some too. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right, Alan.
Get my national team to Magic City, please.
Let's go.
Alan, why are you like this?
Croatia's got to go.
Hey man,
Atlanta's like my second home, man.
Oh my god.
he's a wild boy. Don't let the smile and the glasses
Alan,
fool you.
Alan is he's making trips to Croatia. I'm starting to learn a little bit more about Alan as the weeks progress.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
I will say though, it is a bit bizarre that although it does make sense given the situation with FedEx Field, but like this is the first ever international tour where the capital is not getting any games.
Hey, that's true. DC don't got we don't got the facilities, Alan.
Yeah, I think it's more of
Yeah.
a,
94, we got a game. 94 was at RFK. And I still to this day am pissed off at my parents because I didn't realize what was going on. And Brazil actually played at RFK. And I didn't get to go.
bro. Last thing about
I'm
soccer,
gonna blame Dan Schneider.
bro. Last thing about soccer, and we went on a crazy tangent because he said Germany, and I'm going to Germany for the Euro Cup. That's where I was getting at with that. So I'll be taking my vacation then. My dad's favorite soccer player of all time, Diego Maradona.
Yes.
Do you know his last international soccer game
RFK?
was against Greece in the World Cup?
Oh, okay.
And it was in Foxborough. And my dad, now I don't know if he played like any friendly after, but the last major soccer game, Alan, that Maradona played was at Foxborough. Argentina beat them 4-0.
Mhm.
Of course they beat them 4-0. Like, come on, let's not get crazy. And my dad got to see him play, bro.
Nice.
Pretty dope.
Unforgettable.
Maradona, hand of God, right?
That was 86.
Yes, no, I know.
Yeah.
But it was still the hand of God.
The hand of God. Oh, my God. Oh, man. All right, let's talk some football. One of the games I want to discuss is the Detroit Lions against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Detroit, 4-1.
You
Alan.
got apologize.
Alan, thoughts?
You got to apologize to him. I feel like you've been one of their biggest doubters.
Yeah, I have been.
Always has been.
I have been, yeah. You know, I think the division is a lot worse than I thought it was going to be. I do.
That's fair.
I do like what I've seen from Green Bay. Even though there's been some questionable decisions by Jordan Love, I just think that's like first year starter stuff. I still think Green Bay is going to be a playoff contender, but now Detroit has like opened up the lead in the division. And one of the things that I always look for, and as I'm sure everyone does, is even if you are playing lower quality opponents, are you beating the shit out of them?
Yeah.
And that's what they did last week against Carolina. Like
They've been handling their business.
They've been handling their business. Also, Allen, Iowa, bro. If you're a tight end from Iowa, we got to buy stock, dude. It's like when the Steelers draft wide receivers, no matter what round, you're just like, yo, that guy's going to be starting in my fantasy league.
He's going to be somebody.
Yeah.
Do we still maintain that despite Chase Claypool? I don't know.
Ooh.
Chase Claypool might have broke it.
Hey, listen. Chase
He had a
Claypool,
great start.
he had a great start. He came out of nowhere and was
Okay.
making catches. We were like, oh, my God. And then he fell apart. Yeah, I mean, it happens. It happens. Well, but your
Like, I'm
thoughts
all
on the
with you
game.
with Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, and all that. Yeah, but I don't know. Chase Claypool might ruined it. As for the Lions, they just built that identity. Like, 'cause you don't see too many teams that embrace the running game, and I know their just team building strategy was very ridiculed. When you think about, they had 2 first-round picks. What they draft? A running back and an off-ball linebacker, 2 quote-unquote non-premium positions, and yeah, I know Gibbs has been injured and he hasn't quite fit the system, but at some point, I just think as a weapon, he will be utilized. Maybe kind of like a Reggie Bush, while I forgot, was it Mark Ingram or Deuce McAllister? Like Dave Montgomery could be either. I think it was at first Deuce McAllister, then Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
But I could see like in a way of similar to the Saints offense where they built heavily around the ground game, and then Goff is just so effective on play action. And then with Aaron Glenn, I just think their coaching staff with Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, these are 2 coordinators I think will absolutely begin head coaching interviews come January. I think Ben Johnson is probably be the hottest candidate. Who knows who gets him? But I think that if there's any concern about Detroit, and I know it sounds kind of goofy, but I think we have years of tape to prove it, it's what's going to happen in cold weather games with Jared Goff. He is notoriously, in the past, struggled in those games, whether it's Chicago or Green Bay.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I don't think Chicago poses much of a threat, and Green Bay, he already got that game out of the way. But come January, if you got to go to Philly, who knows what a cold weather game is. I think that might be the only one. But it's just Goff, there's limitations with it. I think he's playing at Pro Bowl level. But as we've seen, when he starts getting harassed, when he's forced to play from behind, things don't quite work out so well. So that's what I'm curious about. But overall, Detroit, you have to be high on. I think players like Josh Reynolds deserve a huge amount of credit that they're actual starters. They're not just role players. Like I think Josh Reynolds is a legit number 2 now. So Detroit, man, I think if they're not I think they're borderline the 3rd best team in the NFC, depending on how you feel about Dallas, but they're definitely the 4th best team in the NFC.
Bro, how do you feel about Dallas? You don't. This is the problem with you, Alan. You don't trust old Dirt McGirt. That's the problem with you. You shouldn't feel anything about the Cowboys.
I'm just mad Allen is over here reading my notes for the show. But I'll get to that.
Oh, let's go. I want to say one thing that I found really funny because you mentioned about what they did with their draft picks. As a key member on the bandwagon of not paying the running back, I found it hilarious. Two things that happened. Last week, Jonathan Taylor gets paid, and then Zach Moss has a monster game 2 days later. And then Jamar Gibbs was drafted and was labeled not a running back, an offensive weapon. And now he's their change of pace third down back. Because Montgomery is that graphic. You remember that famous graphic that they showed? Where it was like the Frankenstein running back. It's like
Classic.
He's athletic like Saquon. He runs through the tackles like Derrick Henry. He's like, you got Le'Veon Bell. It's like all these like all pro running backs listed.
Yeah.
And that was what you mold them together. You get David Montgomery. So I always found that funny. And anytime he has a good game, you see that meme pop up. But I just found that hilarious. But despite that, they're number 4 in the league in offense.
Yeah.
Reynolds is, I think he trusts Reynolds as much as he trusts St. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they're the same player, but
At
the
all.
continuity from the Rams, I think you're still seeing that now. The Iowa tight end, wow, this guy.
That's Laporta, right?
Laporta, yeah, Sam
yeah.
Laporta.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's got a name, I think.
Yeah.
Laporta. I was
gonna
like,
to that.
who is the
I was
Iowa
just-
tight end? I was like, wait, who did they draft? It was Laporta. Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
I was
yeah.
gonna go through the
Yeah.
positions, bro. Even though he hung like 2 touchdowns on me in fantasy last week, I was a
Dang.
little pissed off. But I think also the story needs to be Tampa Bay. They're coming off the bye. You're hearing a lot of good things about Baker Mayfield and how he's embraced. The team has embraced him.
Yeah.
And there's a guy that has been to the playoffs. He's won a playoff game on the road. Granted, not the greatest Steeler team that he beat, but still got a win there. And let's not forget, they were up on the Chiefs.
In division too. Remember that's
Right, in the division.
any divisional playoff game is
Right.
all bets are off.
Right. When they played their division opponent 3 times, and then they had a lead on the Chiefs, but that was when the Chiefs, like anytime they were down 2 touchdowns, it was like, live bet the shit out of them because they're
Pull
gonna
it
come back
together,
and
Pat.
win. Yeah. But I think this is gonna be. Alan mentioned the schedule, right? Outdoor game this week for the Lions. Then next week they play at Baltimore, and then after that, bro, their outdoor games, Chicago in December. Gonna be cold, all right. But you got the Saints at home, Minnesota on the road. That's a dome.
That's dome.
Dallas dome game, and then you got the Ravens. The Chargers. You play the
Dome
Chargers
again.
in
Dome
November.
again.
Dome again. So it's
Oh, wow.
like their
There's pretty much some
schedule.
playoffs.
Yeah, their schedule is very favorable, bro. And then their home games: Bears, Broncos. Obviously, they got the Packers, the Raiders. Like their schedule
could-
is very favorable. Like
Oh.
they're probably the 1 seed potentially, Alan.
I don't know if they could you see them winning 6-7 games in a row? I'm not sure about that. It's just the golf factor. As good as golf has been, you just know he's always due for a dud. I just think there's a 3 turnover game in him. And as much as that defense has improved, I think the secondary is pretty vulnerable. But man, I didn't mention, who's someone that I don't know if he'll ever win Defensive Player of the Year, but he's someone that could be like top 5 to run. Aiden Hutchinson.
Aiden
Yo.
Hutchinson's a problem.
Just
He's a problem.
he's like one of the most relentless players you can watch, and for whatever reason, he is a cover god. Like the interceptions that he has come up with, it's just he's the ultimate hustle player, and he has freakish athleticism for a player who I don't even think tested that great in the combine. I think that's why the Jaguars passed on, which I know they definitely regret at this point. But Aiden Hutchinson, what a player!
Yeah, Trayvon Walker is not Aiden Hutchinson so far. But, I mean, for me, I think this game, obviously, Alan just mentioned the injuries. I think the injuries for the Lions, that is probably the biggest thing that could hold them back over the next 6, 7, 8 weeks. Because now they're starting to get used to being favored. You know what I mean? The Lions have always been an underdog team. So now how do they deal with being favored? How do you deal with, you're supposed to win by 6 and 7? You know what I mean? Not just hopefully you guys show well. I think, to Alan's point, Jared Goff with the play action, he's actually 7th in the league at 64, almost 65% completion percentage on play action. The Buccaneers give up, I believe it was like they're in the top half as far as giving up the best completion percentage. So I think that that's actually going to come into play. And then also remember, this is also week 2 of Jamison Williams and J-Mo coming back. I see some deep shots coming early, and I think that's how they jump out in front and get the win.
It's always to remember Jamison Williams, one of us. He is one of us. That D-Gen life ain't for everybody,
But it is for some.
but it is for some, and he's one of us. Alan, are you surprised by Tampa Bay this year?
Uh-oh. We lose Allen?
I don't know is he frozen? Like, what
No, he like breathed and nod.
Yo, Alan, can you hear us?
No, I think Allen's gone.
Yo, Alan is moving. Clearly
Like,
moving.
no, I heard him breathe. That was the thing. That was the thing that was funny. Like, he definitely took a breath
Yeah,
and then nodded.
that was weird because
Damn, sorry, my connection's messed up.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it looks
It's
like
that
you're in-
asbestos in the background,
bro,
bro.
it looks like you're in a prison. Where are you? What is that?
I'm in my room. This
What?
is my room.
Bro, get some paintings.
Bro,
I gotta show you
Alan-
some
Yeah, I
artwork,
do need a
bro.
painting.
Alan, you need something
I
on
do
the
need some
walls, bro.
artwork.
You out here with a butt naked wall behind you, dog, looking like you in a dorm, man. It's not okay.
I'm talking all
Yeah,
this
no,
shit
I've
about
been
his room.
stuck on this.
I have no artwork anywhere in my apartment. It looks just as bad, too. But yeah, what I was
People got
asking.
responsibilities out here.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
Alan, what I was asking was, how do you feel? Are you surprised by how Tampa Bay has played this year?
I'm still waiting to see with Tampa Bay. Not to be a buzzkill, it's just with the scheduling, and I just see there's like 3 or 4 times a game you see Baker make an errant throw. I think the defense is aging a little bit, but look, credit to them. They took it to the Saints on the road. It is not hard. It is not easy playing that Superdome. Like, that was an intense environment. They played efficient football without Mike Evans for a majority of that game. So I think the coaching staff has done much better than I expected. Dave Canales is someone I think is someone to keep track of. So he was the quarterbacks coach last year in Seattle. And obviously, as you know, Geno Smith had his best year of his career. So now he's the offense coordinator in Tampa. And you see Baker Mayfield looking pretty respectable. I'm not saying he's played great, but he definitely looks like someone that could play in this league, which is something you couldn't say 12 months ago. So their coaching has been better than I thought. Tristan Wirfs has made a very smooth transition to left tackle. So there's reasons to be encouraged. It's just, I don't know, the defense is aging and the offense, you never know with Baker. He's doing mistakes for my liking. And I don't think they've played a particularly difficult schedule. So I think this is the type of week where you see them, kind of like the Eagles game. There's levels to this. And then I could see them getting run over again for like 200 yards.
No, that's a good point, man. And as I'm looking at the schedules, if you look at like the Lions, the Niners, and the Eagles, and it'll segue into the Niners game perfectly, but their schedules are a lot tougher.
Yeah.
Where the Lions, a lot of their games are favorable weather, talking about Jared Goff.
Favorable situation.
Yeah, so I don't think it's that crazy now to think of them potentially going for a bye week and being the top seed. Now, look, complete 180. I didn't feel this way 6 weeks ago.
Yes.
But-
yes. No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. Not at all.
We're going to speak on it. We're going to speak
Not
on
at
it
all.
today.
Yeah. No,
Because who called it? I called it.
Yeah, you and like everybody.
No,
bro. Everybody
no,
was
I
on the
called it
Lions
last year too, and everybody
Yeah.
was like, "You're crazy," and I was
because
like,
you were with the Hard Knocks hype, like everyone else.
No, I don't watch Hard Knocks. No, I'm telling you, listen, literally for me, it was I knew how hard they were playing when their coach, when Dan Campbell cried, and those guys were playing hard. I knew. I was like, oh, okay. If he continues to coach and impact his players that way, I knew that they were going to be all right. And then they actually got quarterback play that was solid. I knew they were going to be fine.
Josh, who you got winning this game?
I already said Tampa Bay by 10.
Tampa Bay? You
Oh,
they're-
no, my bad.
Whoa.
I mean, bro, you were just riding the Lions. Yeah.
Lions by 10. Lions by 10.
Sheesh.
My fault.
Alan, what do you
That's a
got?
definitive statement. I got Detroit. I'm all in on Detroit. Tampa, I'm just not all the way in on their offense, and I think defensively they could get got at, particularly on play action, like Josh was talking about earlier. Lions are here, man. I think it's time to embrace them as one of the top 10 teams, if not top 8 teams in the league.
Yeah. No, you're right, man. You guys bring up good points. I mean, I can't disagree with anything that you guys are saying. I was proven wrong on Detroit. I didn't want to buy into the hype, and I was more pro Green Bay. And I think a lot of it came down to that Thursday night game where they beat the Packers.
Yeah.
And rather comfortably too. So I'm going with the Lions as well. I am so excited to talk about this game.
Okay.
The Niners and the Browns. And here's why, because I have a trend that I've been going on. It's my own trend. You're not getting this anywhere else. It is old Dirk McGurt's trend. Since week 1, the team that is the talk of the town
The talk of the town.
has lost the following week.
Okay.
Hear me out. Let me
Yep.
paint the picture. Week 1, the Lions beat the Chiefs on Thursday Night Football. It's the debut of the new season, the 2023 season. They beat them. What happens in week 2? Lions lose to the Seahawks. Who wins in week 2? The Baltimore Ravens. They move to 2-0. They beat the Bengals in Cincinnati. Lamar has a great game, throws 2 touchdowns, does his Lamar magic. Lamar's back.
Talk of
Ravens
the
are
town.
back. Talk of the town. What happens week 3? They lose. What happens in week 3? Miami puts up 70. They lose in week 4. Who beats them in week 4? The Buffalo Bills. They're the talk of the town. They put up almost 50 points. They lost to the Jets on Monday Night Football. It was just a bad spot. Like, they'll be fine. They're the best team in the league. What happened to them in week 5? They lose to Jacksonville. Where am I going with this? Who's the talk of the town this week?
The Niners.
The Niners. Brock Purdy's a top 5 MVP favorite. You guys know the CMC MVP bandwagon. We're spearheading it. They're the talk of the town. The big concern that I have, though, fellas, is we don't know if Watson's going to be in the game. If I knew Watson was definitely playing on Sunday, Josh,
Yeah.
this +7 would be like, we're dumping the Patreon money in October. We're not giving away no sneakers. We're putting that shit on the +7. But we got to wait and see. But on a serious note, have you guys not noticed, though? Is there any accuracy to that as far as
No,
like
that's
the
the-
team that is like the most hyped team that week,
No.
every week so far has laid an egg?
Literally, the reason I was smiling so much, I see why you get clicks. That was a great narrative.
Bro.
Like, that literally.
Yeah, I can't deny that.
That
All
narrative was like,
facts.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, that is so true.
Yo, look, I've been
Like-
working on as a 32-year-old stud.
Oh God. And
That-
then he burns it. You
Nah,
burn
I
it
don't
all.
burn anything. You gotta let the
burn it all
boy
right
finish.
there.
Is that a lie? Is that a lie? It's not a lie. Yeah, exactly. You're rattled right now because you know I'm spitting the truth. But as a lifelong wrestling fan from the F era, the WWF era, that was a hell of a promo, I think, Alan. What do you say?
No, you set that up really nicely. I like how you built it up, and it's all factual. And I think every team has huge hype around. So, hey, nothing I mean.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
you
Me
nailed
and
it.
Alan we're both like, trust me, I'm befuddled. There's another word for you. There you go.
Befuddled is good. Befuddled is good. And yo, look, the Niners, this is the best defense that they would have played. I think
Yes.
this is the best defense that
No,
they're playing.
This is actually the number 1 defense versus the run and the number 1 defense versus the pass in the league. The Browns are. They have given up the least amount of yards both against the rush and against the pass. And my key, I wasn't even thinking about Deshaun Watson, so that does change things. And because now they don't have Jacoby Brissett. But my thing was, if they can put up points to at least add game pressure, like if they can keep it close, I think that it'll be an interesting game. I think it could turn into quite the slugfest. So we'll see. You know what I mean? Listen, if it becomes hard on Brock Purdy, we'll actually see possibly some growth or some regression. Things haven't been hard for him. So be interesting to see him in a hard game where things aren't going well and, I can't get to my first read and he's butt naked. Like, I got to go through 4 or 5 progressions. Like, yeah, like, we'll see.
He's been doing a really good job though.
He has.
Because obviously since I'm invested on the McCaffrey MVP and I bet on it, and I have some future tickets that tie to the Niners winning the NFC. I've been watching them really closely. And also they're a premier team, right? Like they're one of the 5 best teams in the league. He's just making a lot of, and I talked about it last week, he's making a lot of throws also where he's letting his guys go make plays, which is something he wasn't doing last year. And I think a lot of that has to do with them being behind him.
Yes.
And
yes.
saying
It's
like,
your
yo, bro,
team.
it's no longer
Yeah.
when you don't have that leash on you where I'm playing like this and I'm worried about throwing an interception because then they're gonna pull me.
Yeah.
And they're like, yo, bro, it's good. We don't got Trey Lance here no more. We don't got Jimmy G. Like, this is your squad. Go out
Yeah.
there.
1000%.
He hasn't thrown an interception yet. I think that kind of ends this week. I think it's a really tough matchup because Cleveland is really good everywhere that San Francisco is really good offensively. And to me, I think this is going to be, they're on the road also.
Yep.
And like, bro, let's not forget the Niners last year, they had some weird games. Like, remember they lost week 1 to Chicago? Obviously, it was like a crazy monsoon.
Yeah.
But they have those letdown spots on the road. And at home, they've been so dominant. They've covered 11 straight games at home. I was talking about that before to open the show with Kenny. So they've been a juggernaut at home, but on the road, they could be had. So I was really excited to talk about this game, as you guys haven't been able to tell since I've been taking up all the time. But Alan, give me your thoughts on this game, bro.
Definitely the San Fran offense against Cleveland defense. This is the matchup. Like, we want to see what this Cleveland defense is truly made of against a top tier unit, because I thought Lamar was phenomenal against them. And there was no Bateman, no Beckham, and Lamar played a picture perfect game with also multiple offensive line stars out too. I think Cleveland's defense, as great as it is, they can be a little too aggressive. And you can just picture Shannon doing his classic play action stuff, those leak plays. Like, I think this could be another big George Kittle game, just because Cleveland really likes to leave the middle of the field open, given how Jim Schwartz just loves bringing 5'6" rushers. So I think Cleveland could get got at. And offensively, they've still been kind of a mess. I don't think they're going to run the ball particularly well. And if Watson's not playing, they're in third long. This could be a long day. I'm not particularly confident in Cleveland, but I do think they could at least muck it up, and maybe we could get like a 20-10 game. But San Fran is just too loaded offensively. Now that their defense is playing at such a high level, I think Javon Hargrave has been such a huge addition and it was expected given what he did in Philly last year and that contract. But for him to live up to it, and let's not forget, no Jack Conklin, so they've been having this rookie right tackle, and who rushes from the left side? It's Nick Bosa. So they better be ready to chip Nick Bosa, because if you have a rookie trying to block Nick Bosa, you might as well call the game now. So I don't like Cleveland at all in this matchup, but I am intrigued to see what their defense do, just because we know the talent level they have. Like, man, you want to talk about heavyweight matchup? Myles Garrett against Trent Williams. This is like a true heavyweight fight right here. This is all pro against all pro. So at least we got that to look forward to. But it's just, even if Watson's healthy, I don't see how Cleveland's offense scores more than 17 points. It's just they've looked very dysfunctional, and we saw how good San Fran's defense could be. Fred Warner hopefully gets his due, potential defensive player of the year candidate, gives the off-ball linebackers some love.
Bro, I was thinking about that when I was watching the Cowboys game, because he single-handedly took the soul from them in that first half.
Bro.
And I was like, yo, bro, how come we don't mention him as defensive player of the year?
Well, look, listen, I literally
Linebackers never get love.
Well, not just that, but I literally was watching something earlier today where it was Brady talking about the physicality of the game changing and how they're taking the physicality out, and Ray Lewis and those kinds of things. The reason we don't talk about linebackers nearly as much as we used to, because linebackers aren't really allowed to be linebackers anymore. You're allowed to be fast and then just get them to the ground. But you don't see the hit stick hits that, we still have on Madden. But like in real life, those hits don't exist anymore. The middle of the field is no longer a scary place to be. You know what I mean? You're not like worried that Sean Taylor is going to kill you or take you out in the middle of the field, or Ed Reed is going to crucify you, or Troy Polamalu. Like, it's a different game. So the reason we don't talk about defenders nearly as much is because, truthfully, unless the refs just allow certain teams, a la the Legion of Boom, to ride the line more than others, by and large, one individual player isn't allowed to really showcase his talent that much.
What's crazy is I pulled up the defensive player of the year winners. The last linebacker to win it, and it's like a technicality kind of. It's TJ Watt. He's considered, but everyone views him as a pass rusher, right?
Yes.
But you guys are right, because you got to go all the way back to Luke Kuechly in 2013.
Yeah.
And every other position has been DN, D tackle, Troy Polamalu, Charles Woodson, and then you got to go all the way back to Brian Urlacher, Ray Lewis, which goes to your point how like the game has changed.
Yeah.
Where back then it used to be like, what was Jacked Up? Used to be
Yeah,
a segment
Jacked Up, that's
on
right.
Monday Night Football, bro,
right.
where they highlighted dudes getting concussed.
You got jacked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they were doing.
All I'm gonna say is Jet fans listening to this right now are gonna be a bit aggravated because CJ Mosley and Quincy Williams, those dudes hit. Oh, like you watch Jets. I know people aren't really watching Jets, but that defense, they leave their impact. That's all I'm gonna say.
Nah, there's still some linebackers that like they get it in for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not nearly the danger. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And I just think
True.
that
There you
because
go.
I also think because of the passing, everyone's infatuated with sacks
yeah.
and QB hits.
Yeah.
So that could be why too. I think it comes down to like if Watson plays, Alan brought up a good point about how, the offense still doesn't look that good. In the last time he played, he kind of had, oh shit, this is the Watson from the Texans moments.
Sure.
But still it looks really sloppy.
It's fleeting. He'll be hot for a quarter, but
Yeah.
then 3 other quarters don't look that great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, to your point, 1,000%.
Alan, who you got winning? Is it obvious?
Definitely Niners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, man. I think this trend, this promo that I cut, Josh, I kind of got to go with the Browns. I think the Browns cover, but I think the Niners win, but it's like an ugly win. Like 17-13, like 13-10.
But that 4-point lead feels like 20 for the Browns.
Yeah, like the Browns
Where
have
it's
like
oh, we can't score.
they got like 9 straight 3-and-outs.
Yeah.
Or like 1 first down in 3 quarters. Like, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's how I think that game plays out.
That's actually fair.
Elijah Moore gets like -8 yardage on one play. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
they're still trying to experiment with Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore's a good player, but I feel like every week Elijah Moore ends up losing like 6 yards a play.
Yeah. All right. The last game I want to discuss, and it was a game that Alan really wanted to talk about. And it was actually a game that Kenny feels really strong about, too, from a betting perspective. Josh, me personally, I wanted to stay away from this game because I feel like the sports books are like they're gift wrapping you Bengals -3. Like they are begging you to take the Bengals.
Yeah.
They were begging you to take the Bengals last week, and they ended up covering. They won by double digits. But the Seahawks, coming off a bye, this defense, like they've hit on their draft picks the last couple of years,
They have.
and
Woolen
the
is crazy.
matchups though, I think kind of favor this could be another monster Joe Burrow performance because we'll probably get Higgins back. Obviously, we know about Chase. Chase is like matchup proof. It don't matter who's on Chase; he's still gonna have a game. I think the Seahawks could be had because I think their defensive stats are a little misleading because, like, bro, you played the Giants on Monday Night Football. Let's not get it twisted. You had 11 sacks, and you beat a team that is like a JV team right now. Like, they're just not a good team.
I don't want to hear that nonsense because we play you guys in like 2 weeks. And
Oh, we'll beat you guys because we always do. Like,
thanks. See, and that's my point.
But that's the thing, though. Like, in division, it's
Continue.
not that impressive. You beat Washington. Congrats. Remember a couple weeks ago, I gave you the floor to boast about.
That's why I didn't boast.
Yeah, and it's been GG's ever since.
Yeah.
But I think this is a
Washington's
matchup.
gonna lose this week too, by the way.
That's disrespectful, Alan.
It's a squad,
It's Bush.
bro.
It's Bush League.
It's a squad.
Bush League. Bijan is actually it's Bajan. I found that out today.
John.
Yeah.
He likes either way.
Yeah,
But
his
Nick, go on.
parents call him
Yeah.
Bajan.
I think the Bengals have to win this game.
Yes.
I think it's a must-win game.
Yes.
Because they go into the bye week, and then you know who they got? The Niners and the Bills.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So it is, and I think the best thing that happened last week was not just that they won. Like, Burrow looked fine. He picked up a first down running. The calf wasn't an issue. And that was because I think the Cardinals are really good, bro. Like, it's
The
not
Cardinals are not their
they're
record.
a tough.
They're not their record.
Yeah. And I think Burrow finally looked like Joe Burrow. And look, he got paid in the offseason. He wasn't going to sit out. Like, you're not going to get $250 million and be like, yeah, I'm going to chill for a little bit. No, he probably played through it, and now he feels good. And Jamar Chase went crazy, set a franchise record, and I think one of like 5 players in NFL history to have 15-plus catches and 3 touchdowns in the same game.
That's right.
And I think he's back. I'm not saying that the Bengals are back, but he is basically the main reason why we're behind the Bengals. I'll tell you this much, bro. Right now, they're 30-1 to win the Super Bowl.
That's that. I there. Yeah. I
Here's
I had that for my. I didn't realize that I wasn't supposed to be in on that segment. So I had a whole dissertation on pump the Bengals right now.
I mean, bro, if there's a time to take them, it would probably be now.
Yeah.
Right? You're talking about a team that was the 4th favorite at 10-1.
Yeah.
And coming into the year, we thought that it might be a little shaky because of him getting hurt. So I think that's a good number right now, man. 30-1.
That's a great number on a team that we believe in.
Yeah. And Alan, I just think Burrow is back. Not saying the Bengals, but he's back.
I agreed. I mean, that touchdown to Chase. We wanted to see Burrow push the ball more downfield. You got a glimpse of it against the Rams. It was like a 40-yard, like deep corner that they hit off play action. But you saw Burrow in the pocket, downfield, like classic Bengals. Like one of the most enjoyable things of football is just seeing the Bengals at their peak because we know how much of an explosive offense could be. We love their supporting cast. We love how much of a gunslinger Burrow is. So it was hugely encouraging what they did against the Cardinals. Now, this is a much tougher matchup. I think there's huge concerns about the O-line. I think one thing we got to stop doing with football, and maybe you guys don't do it, but I have an issue with this, is like when we say it can't get worse about a unit, no, it could get worse. I think the Bengals offensive line, the Steelers offensive line have epitomized that over the last 3 years, and we think it can't get possibly worse. Like Najee Harris will run for maybe 4.2 yards per carry at some point. Nope. Joe Burrow will get a clean pocket for at least, maybe 2-3 games. Nope. Like the Bengals O-line right now, even with Orlando Brown, it's just the issue with Orlando Brown, he's so big and he's not good. He's much more a better fit for run-heavy teams like Baltimore. But since going to Kansas City and now Cincinnati, where they're always lining up in shotgun, he kind of gets exposed. So for him to be the tone setter of the offensive line, he's really struggling. So that's a concern. But I just think with the Bengals, with their obviously big game experience, but Big Lou Amarulo, he's going to put together a game plan. And as much as I love Geno, I think this is one of those type of games where Geno could be struggling reading those coverages. Because Lou, you've seen what he's done. He's gotten the worst out of Josh Allen, the worst out of Pat Mahomes. Like his defenses, they're not the most talented, the Bengals, but they're well organized and they have great disguises and they have someone in Trey Hendrickson who that could wreck games.
Yep.
So I don't know if the Bengals, like I agree with Nick, I don't think the Bengals are fully back, but this is definitely a team that's ready to compete now because at least now they can move the ball on offense and the defense isn't going to be on the field for 34, 36 minutes game. That's why the Titans game was a complete disaster because that defense was just on the field for too long. And you're trying to tackle Derrick Henry after this, 25th carry, you're going to be like fed up. So I like where this Bengals team is headed.
Yeah, I think I agree with both of you guys. I feel like this game is a game of two teams in different directions. And I feel like the Seahawks, even though their record says they are a good team, they're 3-1. I feel like they're going to start going the other direction, and the Bengals are going to start stretching their legs and being the Bengals. Now, granted, they have the Niners and then, as you said, the Bills right out of their bye. I think right now is the moment where the Bengals get their season back. The Bengals get to 500 going into the bye week. Joe Burrow gets another week of relaxation and rehab. And we see what we got when we roll back out. So just my thought.
Yeah, and bro, I was trying to make the case about how the Bengals schedule gets easier. It don't get easier, bro.
Division winner.
It is.
Welcome to AFC.
Yeah, and look, they got the bye week, right? And that's why I think it's so important because then they can get to 3-3. They'll get extra time to rest for T. Higgins. Burrow will get a chance to rest. And then you got at San Fran, home Buffalo, home Houston, which is no longer going to be a layup game like we thought it would be, at Baltimore, home Pittsburgh, at Jaguars, Colts, Vikings, a little easier than what we thought.
Well, we don't know at that point in the year.
But check this out. Last three. Ready for this? At Pittsburgh, bar fight, at Kansas City, and then close out the year at home against the Browns in division opponent. Like, man, it's a
gauntlet.
A lot harder games than easier games for the Bengals. That's why I think this is a big spot for them. And he mentioned the defensive coordinator, Sweet Lou out of Staten Island, the second coolest thing to come out of Staten Island, number one being the Wu-Tang Clan. He does always confuse quarterbacks. And I mean, he's doing it to Josh Allen and
Patrick Mahomes
in
playoff moments.
Right. So, yeah, this could be somewhere where we're like, Yeah, Gino kind of looked a little bad in that one. I'm going with the Bengals.
I like
though.
Seattle, man. We should give Seattle more love, but I think it's a tough matchup for them, man.
Yeah,
Like that corner duo, Tariq Woolen and Witherspoon, like they're gonna.
Witherspoon, yeah.
It's gonna be a hell of a matchup, but the Seattle pass rush, I think they kind of capitalized on a bad Giants. And let's not forget, the Seahawks might be missing 2 of their starting tackles. I don't know if they're going to be healthy yet coming out of the bye. And we know how Trey Hendrickson could just wreck a game. Like you watch that Monday night game against the Rams, like that second half, he literally lived in the backfield. So I like Seattle. I don't think we should write them off. We know how much they got playmakers offensively, and I think Shane Waldron's someone to look out for when it comes to offensive play callers. But I just think with the pressure on the Bengals and the momentum, it's Burrow's time, man. Burrow, Chase, they're once they're on point, there's not too many teams that could beat them. So I'm going with the Bengals.
DK Metcalf also might miss the game, so there's
Ooh, wait, what's going on with that?
Yeah, injury. You know what I mean? Hold on, I'll tell you exactly. I know he was questionable. He hadn't practiced, so we'll see.
Coming out of the bye, wow.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's going on.
I'm pulling that up right now because I didn't really see anything about that. Oh, no practice for DK Metcalf on Wednesday.
Son of Mater.
Ribs. Rib injury.
Rib injury. Thank you. I was pulling it up. He's on my fantasy team. I had to drop him down.
I mean, bro, who loves their fantasy team and Madden more than you?
Listen, I don't really like my fantasy team because I was forced into 2 fantasy leagues, one being on my own show. But Madden, oh yeah, I can tell you who's fast in the league. I don't know if he's any good, but I know what I can create out of him.
I love it. That's hilarious. Hey, Alan, tell the people where they can find you and what you're working on social media.
Alex Sturk, that's ALLENSTRK. Right now, I have a roundtable with just a bunch of Falcon writers talking about a Falcons passing game that is functional, folks. Desmond Ridder is not the 32nd best quarterback in the league. He might be 29th or 28th after the performance he had against Houston. So between that, Kyle Pitts, hey, we're talking about fantasy. Kyle Pitts got 11 targets. I don't want to hear it, people. The guy is good. He just needs to find his niche. So, yeah, Falcons, look, man, they're fun to cover right now. And very looking forward to this match against a Washington team that I know you probably heard a lot of punchlines about after the Chicago game. All ease off. Just remember that Terry McLaurin and Josh Doctson are on the team. Let's not throw it to Brian Pringle and Logan Thomas 14 times.
Jesus Christ. Thank you. Yes. And trade Kyle Pitts to the Commanders. We'll find a home for him. I promise you we will find a home for him.
All I know about the Falcons is if you're a generational talent, don't go to Atlanta, bro, because I just would avoid it.
We talk about Julio had
a Hall of Fame career in Atlanta.
Yeah, but was Julio considered a generational talent coming out of college?
No.
I think so. They traded a whole format for him.
Yeah, he's right. That's my boy, too. I can't believe I just slandered Mount St. Julio.
Michael Vick, generational talent.
Yeah.
Not in Atlanta. Nah, he underachieved in Atlanta.
What?
I'm telling you, on-field wise, yes.
Okay.
Not global,
first
not-
off, shout
not
out to the
influence.
Redskins fan out there outside with a Redskins hat on. That's actually really dope. He didn't hear me. He has his earbuds on. Michael Vick, remember, my whole thing with Vick is this. If Vick would have had Andy Reid in Atlanta, Michael Vick would have been the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah, bro, but like if you had this coach, you had that coach.
Not
like,
even Alan, you could make the face. If he would have had Andy Reid and bought in from the beginning, oh my God.
Okay.
That could
I
have
agree.
been beyond scary.
I know, I get that, bro, but like
How is that not crazy? Think about it.
No, I'm just saying, like you're asking one guy to have another coach. Like, yeah, no shit. There's like 50 other quarterbacks that they have. If they had different coaches, they'd be good or better.
I understand.
So that's what I'm saying.
He still
That's
was
what-
great. He was still great.
Look, the impact that he made, he kind of changed the game because I think Michael Vick changed the game.
Yes, of course.
Oh, you were making that face
Well,
like you were
made
about to
it-
throw up.
No, I made the face. You said kind of.
No, he did.
Michael Vick. Michael
Something
Vick
about-
was Michael Vick.
Yeah,
We gotta get out of here.
yeah, we got to get out of
My
here.
bad.
Yeah, there you go.
Where can they find you?
The American Fan 365 on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, and on Wednesdays I'm here with Nick.
Yes, sir. At Nick Day is 10 as you can find me. All things Veterans Minimum are at Veterans Minimum, and we'll catch you guys next time.
In his element, I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be killed.